Hello, welcome to When the Smoke Clears. I am the Recovery Plug. What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well today. I know that my day's been going pretty good. I'm doing great. Another, great day in recovery, spirituality, and positivity, man. It's amazing. If we please join me in a moment of silence, followed by the Serenity Prayer. For the addict who still suffers, and for those who are still in the struggle and bound down to those struggles, if you would please join me in a moment of silence. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, wisdom to know the difference. Alrighty, well, what's happening, man? It's going pretty good today, man. Today was a great day. I was, attended my music therapy this morning, so that was great. And while I was there, it was I started thinking, you know what I mean? My mind is rolling all the time of different topics and different things that I'd like to discuss and maybe share experiences, and that sort of thing. That's one of my things that I like to, kind of brainstorm on my own to see what I'm going to talk about. And while I was sitting there, we're sitting there and we're trying to play these instruments. And what we're doing right now in that class, or in that, therapy group session is we're learning how to play a song using what they call boom whackers, and they're just these pieces of plastic tubes, right? And then you've seen them maybe in some videos or Vegas shows or whatever, and they're playing these songs different. They've got like a group of people, and they're playing these different colored plastic tubes and making a song out of it. And so we're practicing because we want to learn how to play this particular song. And it's a song from the band Journey, and it's I believe the song's called "Don't Stop Believing," and we're learning how to play that song. And we haven't been doing it very long. We've probably been, the core of us, which is probably about 4 guys. 4 veterans, and we've probably been playing maybe 4 to 5 times, I guess, that we've gone together and gone to this music therapy session and practiced this to play this song. And it got me thinking, that if 4 strangers who don't know each other got together and was able to learn how to play this song out of plastic tubes, then how much different is that to changing yourself from the person that you're, I guess, not wanting to be, as far as that person that's in the struggle, that's maybe addicted, who's maybe dealing with depression, maybe dealing with PTSD, childhood traumatic experiences, drug and alcohol addiction, whatever it is that you're addicted to or having trouble with in your life. Using that same type of practice, even if it's just once a week, doing something a little bit out of the box, believe it or not, starts reprogramming your brain, starts reprogramming the way your thought processes go. And when you start changing the thought processes in your mental states, in your thinking process, you start developing different actions, because you start getting different emotions. And obviously, when you let something into your subconscious mind, it turns into a feeling, and then that feeling turns into an action. You know what I mean? If you get a feeling of being excited, then the action to that is, possibly doing something exciting or laughing or something like that. You know what I mean? And if you have an anger feeling, then obviously the anger feeling was going to manifest a action that's going to be aggressive. You know what I mean? And so if a group of strangers can get together and practice with these plastic tubes that none of us had ever played before in our lives, and are able to start getting this rhythm going and getting this song to come together, and it's like you're bringing something to life in a sense. You know what I mean? And I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I think I want to talk about that, because I know that when I was bound down to the world of addiction and everything that came with that, and all the rest of the struggles that I had that came along, that were next in line, and that were there with my drug addiction disease, I can remember being so mentally closed off, if you will, and just living my life in this little box, if you will, of life, that this is all I know, this is all I want. I don't want to veer off. I don't want to go to I don't want to cross those walls at any freaking side of that box, and I don't want to let nobody in. This is where I want to stay, because right now, this is where I'm comfortable. Right now, my disease tells me that you need to be here, you need to stay here, because this is where you're at, this is what you need to do. My disease talks me into telling me that don't go out there. That life's not for you. Your life's right here. And I believe it. You know what I mean? I believe those thoughts that come into my mind that are negative and telling me that I'm not any good, that I'm not worth doing this, or I'm not worth doing that. Nobody loves me anymore. You're a failure because you lost your business. You're a failure because you lost your home. You're not a good dad because you lost the home and the business, and now your kids are displaced. I allowed my disease to just run my life in that way. And it was a terrible road. You know what I mean? It was a terrible road, but one that is, it's not a one-way road. Let's just put it that way. But in order to look up and find that crossover where you can turn and come back up that road to a different place, a better place, a positive place, a spiritual place, all depends on what your thought processes are. You know what I mean? Ultimately, it depends on how you think. You know what I'm saying? It depends on how you think, and how you think depends on your environment. Now, when I was in the world of addiction, my environment consisted of hanging out with people who used and sold, and being out in the streets, living in motels when I could, living in bandos, living in tent communities, couch surfing, and everybody around me had that same thought process. So ultimately, the adaptation of your thought process is going to be exactly that. You're going to adapt to your environment. And for a long time, that was my environment. You know what I mean? That was all I knew. And at that time, that wasn't all I knew, but that is ultimately where my disease took me. That was ultimately where staying in that negative thought process led me. I stopped involving myself in a recovery community. I stopped involving myself in a spiritual community. I stopped involving myself in interaction with people, in interaction with people who loved me, and interacting with new things, new ideas, new hobbies, any of that kind of stuff. I stopped exercising. I stopped reading. I stopped doing everything that I would normally had done when I was sober. When I had 10 years of sobriety, I had a different lifestyle. And, I know I've heard a lot of people in people that I know personally, people that I hear their stories in these meetings that I go to. I go to quite a few different types of meetings. I go to, like I said, I attend music therapy. I got peer support groups that I attend through the VA. I got peer support groups that I attend outside the VA. And I also attend quite a few NA meetings and AA meetings. And I also attend my community functions and stuff at the church, whenever they have stuff. And I'll attend, things that the city provides for people who are struggling with those types of issues. And when I started doing that, when I started changing those types of things, when I started changing my environment, when I started changing my thought processes and replacing everything with positive stuff, right? My mind started changing. I started changing because what I didn't know at the time, what I was doing, it was practicing. You know what I mean? I was practicing a lifestyle. Just like four strangers go into a room and pick up these plastic tubes, and we've never met each other, and we're practicing this new way of living by banging plastic tubes on our legs and actually making music out of it. Go figure. But the energy that you feel from us playing it, we start vibing off of each other. You could feel the energy start to radiate. And now you're playing these things and banging them on your legs, and you're waiting, and then you're hoping that the guy next to you is going to be on beat, and you're going to be on beat, and next thing you know, we're in rhythm and we're playing this song. And the expressions on people's faces are just priceless to me, because you could see the joy. You could see that they're in concentration. You could see that their undivided attention is just focused on this one thing, and they want to get it right. And then when the instructor is clapping and has a smile on her face, yes, you did it. And then the reaction with the people in the class is this just happy reaction. You know what I mean? And it's just this energy that starts vibing around towards everybody. And I figured, man, if you just start doing a little bit of practice, and no matter where you start, you know what I mean? In recovery of anything, there's not going to be a set book, a set of rules, a set of, you need to do X, Y, and Z to get to this. There's not going to be no go from here to here and then you're cured or whatever. That's not how it works. What it is slowly and gradually changing the way you think. And when you change the way you think, you'll notice that you're changing your environment as well. And it's almost inevitable that that's going to happen. Because there's no way that you stay in this negative realm and going to get something positive out of that if you stay there, if you interact with that negativity. You know what I mean? There's no way that if I stayed in the motels and stayed with the people that I hung out with and tried to go to school and tried to go to these meetings and try to go to the therapy groups, all of that, and then stayed over there, was that going to work? No, that's like putting oil and water mixing together. You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And what winds up happening is that you'll notice that you start adapting to the environment that you're in. You know what I mean? Whether it's people, places, things, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? If you're negative and you're hanging out with people who are always Debbie Downers and always, talking the talk but never walking the walk, well then guess what's going to happen? It's going to exactly happen like that. You're going to start talking the talk but never walking the walk. You know what I mean? And I had to figure out that if I'm going to sit here and talk the talk, then by God, I better be walking the walk. You know what I mean? So that's what I do. I get up every morning and I start walking. I start doing positive things. My mind is automatically doing something positive as soon as my eyes wake up. You know what I'm saying? As soon as I get up, the first thing that I'm doing is I'm praying. I'm praying something. And it just happens automatically. I start reciting the Serenity Prayer as soon as I wake up. That's the very first thing I do. And I do this because I've been doing this for the last, 18 months or so. Because I've been practicing every single day. I do this positive ritual that now it seems like it's automatic. That's exactly what my body does. My brain just goes to that. That's like my default when I wake up. That's the first thing that I start doing is I start saying those prayers. You know what I mean? And if I can do that, then I know you can do that. Anybody can do it. You know what I mean? And the thing is that we have that power. You know what I mean? The power to recovery and staying in recovery is all up to you. It's all up to me. Because if it's not in here and if it's not here, if I'm not thinking positive and if I'm not thinking recovery and if I'm not speaking positive things and not speaking recovery, spirituality, mindfulness, and all that kind of the good, karma and cosmic energies, then guess what? That's not where my life's going to go. My life is going to go exactly where I'm putting myself physically and where my mental thought is, what I'm putting into my mental brain capacity and what I'm channeling out through my voice. You know what I mean? And if I'm not doing something positive like that and just doing negative things, well, then that's where my life's going to wind up. It's going to wind up in that negative realm, and that's exactly where I don't want to be. So, this last year and a half has been a transformation for me personally because I've been doing things like that. I've been practicing every single day. Every single day I practice something. You know what I mean? I make it a point to, get out of my box and interact with people. I make it a point to go to different meetings and interact with people who are trying to attain the same thing that I'm trying to attain. If I want to stay in recovery, if I want to be healthy, if I want to be full of positivity and spirituality, well, then guess what? That's the kind of people that I got to hang out with. Those are the types of people that I need to be around. Because if I'm around people who just want to do licks and party, then guess where I'm going to be? I'm going to be doing the same thing. And to be quite honest with you, man, the last time that I was in the addiction and my last relapse, it lasted 5 years, and nothing positive came out of those 5 years. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I'm here now. I'm grateful that I'm able to speak to you, that you may hear something encouraging that helps you, motivate you to take that first step, to start practicing something positive. And if you keep doing that, eventually you're going to start just automatically doing things like that. And you're going to start attracting those positive things. You know what I mean? Believe it or not, that happens. It happens. Never have I ever did positive stuff and got a negative result. Never. I've never had a positive plus a positive equals a negative. I never had that. You know what I mean? And it's never happened for me. And I don't think it would happen for you. But I know that for a fact that I'm here today, clean, sober, full of exciting energy and positive energy and positive spiritual energy and knowledge and just this motivated feeling to express, to share, to help, and to learn. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't have been able to do any of those things. I wouldn't have been able to have this mindset that I do now had I been still using and stayed in that world of negativity and darkness. You know what I mean? There's just no way. But I'm grateful to my higher power that I'm able to be here today and share a story that may help somebody. You know what I mean? And so yeah, that I wanted to just throw that out there today, and hopefully maybe that helps somebody else out. You know what I mean? Because I know that it was encouraging for me personally to recognize that there at the music therapy session that I went to, and then to just see the expressions on the guys when we started getting this song going. You know what I mean? It was just great, and just to be able to do something like that with strangers, with people that I don't even know. You know what I mean? I don't know them personally. You know what I mean? I just met them there at the music therapy session. So we even had a new guy today. You know what I mean? And he just, started jumping in because he felt the energy. And then he started, his beats started just popping in with ours. And it was just great. But, we're as human beings, that's our nature, is to be adaptive to our environment. We've been like that since prehistoric times. You know what I mean? And that's just how we're, biologically freaking programmed, if you will. You know what I'm saying? So it's nothing new to the brain, but the brain can't tell the difference of that shot of dopamine that it gets, that it releases when you smoke meth or take a drink of alcohol, and or if you're attending a music therapy group, getting excited over something positive, because both of those things in the neural brain chemistry, it shoots off the same stuff, the same amounts, the same thing, because it can't tell the difference. It just knows that this is time for me to shoot dopamine now, and it does it. It doesn't know that doing the drugs is bad for you, and it doesn't know that, you know, being excited in music therapy group is good for you. It doesn't know the difference there. It just knows that, I got to shoot dopamine out right now. And the thing is that when you do this on a repetitive basis, that's when you start getting that you're remapping your brain. You're remapping the way you think. You're remapping the way your thought processes are. And that there, my friends, starts bringing about these feelings, and your actions start reflecting accordingly. You know what I mean? So it's just great. I'm blessed and excited that I was able to attend today and to share this story with you guys. You know what I mean? Hopefully that it's encouraging for somebody, and hopefully that you get the concept of that whole thing. And so I guess at this time, if you please, man, shoot me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, share my channel. I greatly appreciate it. Just know that when you do, it doesn't cost you a thing, but just know that when you do share my channel, you'll be helping out another veteran, another person dealing with PTSDs, childhood traumatic experiences, depression, anger, drug and alcohol addiction, all those things, because I, my friends, have dealt with all those things at one point in time in my life. And the ultimate goal here is to help as many people as we can, and to share the message and to bring them on this side of recovery, positivity, and spirituality. So I guess until the next time, on When the Smoke Clears, I am the Recovery Plug.